Path to Wisdom and Self-Knowledge based on Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita advises regarding advancement of 20 attributes based on chapter 13, verses 8 to 12. Amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa kshantihi Arjhavam, acharyopasanam shaucham, stairyam atma vinigraha. Number 1. Amanitvam, humility. When we become proud of the attributes of our individual self, such as vanity, intellect, talent, strength, name, fame, wealth, etc., we forget that God has given all these attributes to us. Pride thus becomes a big obstacle on the path of self-realization, separating our consciousness from God. It defiles the self by negatively influencing the quality of the mind and intellect. Number 2. Adambitvam, freedom from hypocrisy. The hypocrite engages in the same behavior or activity for which one criticizes another, or the practice of claiming to have moral standards or beliefs to which one's own behavior does not match. A person is defective from inside but creates an artificial external personality like a facade. Unfortunately, the external display of virtues is superficial and empty. Number 3. Ahimsa, non-violence. Non-violence means avoiding not only external physical violence to all sentient beings, but also internal violence of spirit. Non-violence is both a principle and a practice. The principle of non-violence affirms the active use of non-coercive and non-aggressive means to create a more peaceful context. Human choices should be made from the place of love rather than hate. Number 4. Kshantihi Forgiveness. It is freedom from ill will even towards those who have harmed one. Actually, harboring ill will harms oneself more than the other. By practicing forgiveness, a person of discrimination releases the negativities in the mind and purifies it. Radical forgiveness calls for the belief that everything happens for a reason, as a part of the divine plan for our life, our soul's journey. Number 5. Arjhavam, simplicity. It is straightforwardness in thought, speech, and action. Straightforwardness in thought includes absence of deceit, envy, crookedness, etc. Straightforwardness in speech includes absence of insult, condemnation, gossip, embellishment, etc. Straightforwardness in action includes plainness in living, forthrightness in behavior, etc. Number 6. Acharyopasanam, service to Guru. Spiritual knowledge is received from the Guru. This imparting of divine knowledge requires the disciple to have an attitude of dedication and devotion towards the Guru. By serving the Guru, the disciple develops humbleness and commitment that enables the Guru to impart knowledge. Learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him with reverence, and render service unto him. Number 7. Shaucham, purity of body and mind. Purity should be both internal and external. External cleanliness helps maintain good health. It includes cleanliness of body, surroundings, and environment. It encompasses developing discipline and uncluttering the mind. By mental cleanliness is even more critical, and it is achieved by focusing the mind on the all-pervading God. Number 8. Stairyam, steadfastness, persistence to remain on the path. Steadfastness is the persistence to remain on the path until the goal is reached. One should be very determined to make progress in spiritual life. Without such determination, one cannot make tangible progress. And self-control means that one should not accept anything detrimental to the path of spiritual progress. Those who do not give up will get the fruits of their arduous, unwavering endeavor. Number 9. Atma Vinigraha, self-control. Self-control is restraint of the mind and the senses from running after mundane pleasures that dirty the mind and intellect. It prevents the dissipation of the personality through indulgence. The senses are powerful and want instant gratification, but one should not cater to their demands. The senses should be gratified only to keep the body fit and advance on the spiritual path. Indriyartheshu vairagyam ahankar evacha janma mrityu jaravyadi dukha doshanudarshanam. Number 10. Indriyartheshu vairagyam, dispassion towards objects of the senses. It is a stage higher than self-control in which we restrain ourselves by force. Dispassion means a lack of taste for sense pleasure that are obstacles on the path of God realization. It means a cessation of the effort to seek happiness from things other than the self. Dispassion bears the fruits of freedom, happiness, cheerfulness, objectivity, and leads to God realization. Number 11. Anahankar, absence of egotism. Egotism is the conscious awareness of I, me, and mine. False ego means accepting this body as oneself. When one understands that he is not his body and his spirit soul, that is a real ego. False ego is condemned, but not real ego. Veda proclaims Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, I am spirit. This I am, the sense of self, exists in the liberated stage of self-realization. Number 12. Janma Mrityu Jaravyadi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. Keeping in mind the evils of birth, disease, old age, and death. One should try to understand the distress of accepting birth, death, old age, and disease. The child is delivered in a distressful state and so is dying. As far as disease and old age are concerned, everyone gets practical experience. No one wants to be diseased or no one wants to become old, but there is no avoiding this. This understanding is the impetus of advancing on the spiritual path. Asaktihi anabhishvanga putradara gruhadishu nityam cha samachittatvam ishtanishto papatishu. Number 13. Asaktihi, non-attachment. Non-attachment means dispassion towards the world. It is to separate oneself from one's thoughts and opinions as not to be harmed mentally and emotionally by them. We have only one mind, and if we wish to engage in it, pursuing spiritual goals, we have to refrain from worldly attachments with love and attachment towards God. For example, the lotus flower maintains its beauty in the muddy water. Number 14. Anabhishvanga putradara gruhadishu, absence of clinging to spouse, children, home, and so on. In bodily thinking, one spontaneously identifies with the family and home as mine. Attachment causes expectation of certain kinds of behavior we want from family members, and when expectations are not met, it leads to mental anguish. We must do our duty towards them. Without attachment, as a nurse does her duty in the hospital or a teacher does her duty towards her students in the school. Number 15. Nityam cha samachittatvam ishtanishto papatishu. Even-mindedness amidst desired and undesired event in life. Pleasurable and painful events come without invitation, just as the night and the day. That is life. To rise above this duality, we must learn to enhance our spiritual strength through detachment towards the world. We must develop the ability to remain unperturbed by life's reversals and also not get carried away with the euphoria of success. Mai chananya yogena bhaktira vyabicharini vivikta desha sevitva maratirjana sansadi. Number 16. Maicha ananya yogena bhaktihi avyabicharini. Constant and exclusive devotion towards God. Mere detachment means that the mind is not going in the negative direction. But life is more than merely preventing the undesirable. Life is about engaging in the desirable. The desirable goal of life is to dedicate it at the lotus feet of God. As far as self-realization is concerned, it is clearly stated here that Bhakti Yoga is extremely practical. Number 17. Vivikta desha sevitva. Inclination for solitary places, solitude. Unlike worldly people, spiritually inclined beings don't seek company to overcome loneliness feelings. They naturally prefer solitude that enables them to engage their mind in communion with God. Hence, they are naturally inclined to choose solitary places and retreats to absorb themselves in devotional thoughts more deeply. Number 18. Aratir Jana Sansadi. Aversion for mundane society. The sign of materialistic mind is that it finds pleasure in talks and gossips about worldly affairs. One who is cultivating divine consciousness develops a natural distaste for these activities and thus avoids mundane society. If it is necessary to participate in it for the sake of service to God, the devotee accepts it and develops the strength to remain mentally unaffected by it. Adhyatma gnana nityatvam tattva gnanartha darshanam etta gnanamiti proktam gnanam yadato anyatha. Number 19. Adhyatma gnana nityatvam. Constancy in spiritual knowledge. To theoretically know something is not enough. One may know that anger is a bad thing, but may still give vent to it repeatedly. We have to learn to implement spiritual knowledge in our lives practically. After hearing them, we must repeatedly contemplate upon them. Such mulling over the divine truths is the true embodiment of spiritual knowledge. Number 20. Tattvagnanartha darshanam. Philosophical pursuit of the absolute truth. God has blessed human beings with the faculty of knowledge. This is not to enable us to engage in bodily activities in a deluxe way, but for us to contemplate upon the question, who am I? Why am I here? What is my goal in life? What is my connection with the Creator? How will I fulfill my purpose in life? This philosophical pursuit of the truth should be explored. Hope you enjoyed the video. All the best on the path of spirituality, love, peace, and joy.